right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have heard quite a fair bit from Kun Alfie about sustainability. Everybody now must be an expert, isn't it? Are we? All right, let me quickly start because we are kind of like rushing for time a little bit as well. Now, we decided to, we decided to have that topic around leadership strategies for sustainability transformation because a lot of all these initiatives, like we said, we see earlier on, PX plus DX equals to SX. A lot of these initiatives has to be top down, right? We need to have a corporate strategy, a corporate purpose before we can bring all the different functions together in an organization. And we know that any transformation in business, if we want to do it in a way that drives positive, lasting change, especially in sustainability transformation area, it involves looking into three areas. Economic growth, right, which is the prosperity portion around the Fujitsu materiality. It involves social inclusion, which is people. That is where the PX in that equation comes from. And finally, climate changes and all the risks that we're seeing. It involves environmental protection, right? And henceforth, I think the whole transformation around sustainability needs to take into consideration greater collaboration, greater cooperation, not just within a country or a region, it's global. Right. Today, the borderless world makes every one of us a global citizen. So we feel that government, societies, private sector, and the public sector, of course, right, we all have to come together to achieve a goal, to protect the world and to protect our prosperity and our people as well. Right. So with this, I think we have seen a few things into this morning's summary or addresses by our colleagues. There are increasing calls for new model of openness and trust, right, in both government sector and in private sector businesses. And the increasing calls for all these changes in business model comes from three main areas. First and foremost, I think our customers. Perhaps not so much in APAC at this moment, but we start to see a wave coming through from Europe especially, right? And it's getting into Asia right now. We see the wave that customers are increasingly demanding sustainability development, right? Number two, as I speak earlier on this morning with Dr. Soraphol, we start to see government and regulations taking very active steps. Right, like what Alfie said earlier on, maybe it's through the pressure of businesses and corporation that pushes the government to really look into cross-border collaboration and coming up with standards and regulations. And finally, we all see all the regional climate change risks, right? So something that we cannot ignore. I put up this slide and it's from Forrester report. So far, when it comes to sustainability, we see a lot of reports from Americas and Europe, right? A lot of these analyst firms right now are trying to do a bit of a research in APAC, right, in Asia Pacific. What is it like? What is our state of environmental sustainability? And Forrester did this report on a few hundreds of large APAC companies across some of the key nations. And these are some of the statistics that came out. 64% have named a sustainability lead in a company. 62% have scope 1 and 2 carbon neutral goals. This is the most important, I think, when it comes to ASEAN region, right? A lot of us have a very sophisticated supply chain system going on, right? The scope 3 emission regulation is going to have a very, very big impact in the way we do things, in the way we redesign some of our products and supply chain. With this, right, I'm very, very excited today, right? Among all my panelists, I'm probably the least experienced in terms of sustainability transformation, right? But I belong to the younger generation where I'll barcode things before I buy it, right? Ignore the 20 years experience that our MC just said. So with this, let me welcome our panelists once again. And with this, I'll also start the ball rolling by asking Dr. Soraphol. We know we have been hearing this word sustainability transformation. And we know that it varies by industry, right? On the stage, you can basically see Dr. Soraphol is from FSI/government, and then we have Kun Waraporn in the agriculture machinery space. Kun Nuttavut is in the supply chain and construction, and of course, Alfie in technology. Very varied industry. So from your perspective, Dr. Soraphol, what is sustainability transformation, and why is it important to your industry? And is this a threat for business or opportunity?
Well, one key indicator that this is an important issue is that there is seminar like what we have today, almost one or two every week. So I think the questions about awareness, I think that's not the problem. But I think we are dig into much deeper than just knowing that this is important. The mindset, or you said that what's the important transformation? I think is a mindset is the most important. We have seen the shift of mindset from something that is nice to do, like CSR. As Alfie did a difficult job in explaining that, to something that you have to do because it's a regulator, it's a customer that demand it. And now we are at a stage where people are talking about it is something that you want to do because it's no longer the license to operate, but it's something that if you do it right, it can be beneficial to both the consumer, the company itself. Many dimensions I can give as example, and I'm sure our panelists can give more specific on the industries. On the environmental side, if you can save the energy, that's good for the planet and it's good for the company because that lower the bottom line. Right? On the social side, if you take care of your employee, the turnover is lower. You don't need to retrain and you can keep the talent at your company, and that's also good for your bottom line. And there are countless of examples like this, and when you start seeing this, then it becomes the mindset of the company that if you want to do it, you don't do as a side job, but you really have to integrate it to the strategy, the core strategy of the company. People sometimes often, there's so many sustainability issues that I want to do, I couldn't frame it, like talk about SDG, there's 17 goals, who can do all of them, right? But for me, just to explain in simple terms, like, what is it? What is sustainability to me? But you have to find it yourself too. For me, you talk about sustainability is that you have to think wider and you have to think longer. Wider means that whatever project you do, not only for your company, but it can talk about your employee, talk about your consumer, talk about the local business around you, talk about the supply chain. So this is what I mean wider. You take the impact, the positive and the negative of the project that you're thinking of doing on a much wider scale. It eventually come back to your bottom line. And think longer meaning that we don't just think about our generations, but we're also thinking about the next generation. If you pollute now, our children will need to pay, so on and so forth. So I think to me, this is the simple term, if you want me to define the sustainability. So my point is that how you integrate this to what you do. And you don't have to do everything all at once. That's impossible to do everything all at once. And you can ask all the experts on how to choose the right topic, because the resource is limited and some issues are important and related to your business. If it's not related to your business, it's a side job. Don't do it. Okay. So I think what I look forward to hear from our other panelists too on on the sustainable transformation is how you embrace it to each of the company. So that's my short give you the trend of the transformation.
Very essential for business and sounds like an opportunity. What about you, Kun Nuttavut? What's the Siam Cement Group's point of view?
I see two sides. The first side is the thing that you can become your threat if you cannot adjust based on the trend that emerges. Right now, we can face with the global warming, right? But in the future, everyone in this room already know we move forward to the low carbon society, low carbon economy. So with this trend, we can grab something, right? From the other side of the coin, you can bring this opportunity back to your business by bridge the gap that you have right now about the emission, right? With this trend, you can move your business, move forward to the net zero and decarbonize it along the value chain. This is also the opportunity if you can grab this. And you have to start today, but can't wait for the future because you need to build a new muscle, build new ecosystem in order to fulfill the gap that you still missed it, right? This is a thing that I saw. And I think the future will wait us to achieve.
Thank you. Kun Waraporn from Siam Kubota.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Jess. I think before talking about this issue, let me a little bit introduce the Siam Kubota Corporation. We are a joint venture company between SCG and Kubota, and we are here in Thailand for 45 years now. And our main product related to the cultivation in agriculture. So, for example, we have the machinery in the tractor, combine harvester, rice transplanter, mini excavator, the drones, and also some other implements attached to the tractors. And we also study kind of the product or solution related to the climate change. For example, the greenhouse, the pen factory, the robot in the greenhouse, and some other platform and solution in agriculture. So let's go back to talk about the sustainability transformation. I think as we take a look at the strategies of most of the companies today, there will be more buzzwords like innovation, digital transformation, carbon neutrality, and also, of course, the sustainability transformation. For us, I think the sustainability transformation is not an option anymore. It is mandatory that the company needs to do in order to survive in this changing world. And I think it's also aligned with the all stakeholders' expectation. And for the Siam Kubota, we are in the agriculture sector with related to the global concerns like the food safety or food security or even the carbon neutrality. So in order to do that, we need to overcome this challenging, ranging from people to process. Just like the Kun Alfie said, like dx and the px, right, equal to the sx. I think the important thing is how do we overcome this challenging in order to maintain our business, maintain our profitability to reach the sustainability. And if asking about whether it will be an opportunity or a threat, I think it can be both, depending on how do we handle them or how do we tackle them. But I would encourage every company to consider it as an opportunity because it will lead us to join hands to do more for our society, for sustainability. So that's my thought right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Kun Waraporn. And finally, Alfie, from your perspective, from a technology provider angle, right?
I've been talking about it for the last 30 minutes. So maybe personally, I would say this is something important because I plan to retire in Thailand. And we have a long coastline and low land in Bangkok that subjected to flood. So if the temperature keep going out, I don't know I can retire here. That's personally I felt. At the corporate level, we believe it's a must. What we are sharing today, we are not only saying I want to sell to customer. Actually, a lot of things we showed you, we started internally. Like the Fujitsu notebook, the neutrality, the sustainability program. Actually, we are part of it when we go to customer. And the entire ecosystem is an ecosystem. Today, the challenge of us today is how to talk to our bigger group of customers to bring a common goal together to drive the same thing. And that is actually my personal goal. I'm talking to different corporate new business department who's supposed to create new business or sustainable business. I'm talking to different companies, and I'm hope to look for more customer or partners here to do together and form out a great consortium that I share in Japan. 18 companies come together to define a project, to define the outcome. It's no longer a seminar. I really want to do this if you ask me personally. Yep.
Right. Thank you. Now, back to Dr. Soraphol. Right. We talk about ESG a lot this morning. How do you define ESG, factors that affect businesses in your area?
As I mentioned, my simple definition is that you look wider and longer. But in terms of the operational definition that we in the investment community are talking about when we talk about sustainability is we divide into the E, the S, and the G. E is environment, and we talk about environment issues like climate change that many people talk about. But there are also other environment issues that are also up and coming. For example, diversity, the water usage, PM 2.5 that everyone knows about. So these are all the other issues that is quite wide-ranging. The S on the so the social. Social is basically has to deal with people. And for me, the easiest way to remember is people inside your organization and the people surrounding. The people inside your organization is basically your employee and also the board and those things. So we are talking about the diversity, whether it be it gender, be it skill. We're talking about the right pay, right job, and those things. The training, development, career growth opportunity, and those things. How to keep them engaged with the companies. And of course, that's the G. The G, to me, and to many of the experts I have talked to, is not another separate category, but it's the foundation for the other two. The G is governance, and one of the key importance for governance is transparency and to have the check and balance and those things. And we have here many cases, like all this greenwashing, all this fraud of accounting, all these things. Of course, greenwashing is an E with a bad G, right? And accounting is, of course, also a bad G. So the G governance is actually embedded in everything. You need to do the G first. Once you have the G first, then you can start talking about the environment and the people. So this is definition. And I'm glad you brought this up because, when we talk to the public, most people think about sustainability, they talk about climate, and that's it, full stop. And we must say that that's not it, right? But it's the first one. And trust me, other wave is coming. There are movements in the global investment community that they will pay more attention to other specific issues. So we need to be ready in terms of getting our strategy right, getting our system right, getting our people ready.
Good point there. And I'll go into advertisement a little bit later. Please go into the data and AI track. We're going to talk about how to make data, AI, and security work together for sustainability transformation. Okay, coming back after the advertisement airtime. Kun Nuttavut, what about, do you have anything else different from your vertical to add?
I would like to add something like this. We are in the wave of crisis in the past 4 years, right? But right now, we are in the era of poly-crisis. COVID never gone from us. Hyperinflation still exists. And climate change is still a big chunk of the emission that we have to help each other to resolve it, to reduce it for the emissions that already happen in this group, right? With this, I think it's come up with a new balance. When we talking about ESG, it's not from the bottom up, but it needs from the top down to make every layer inside the company itself to move up together in order to achieve for the net zero for the longer term. As SCG, we have 3 common business. The first one we born from cement, and we expand over into other industry, petrochemical industry. That 2 of that is a hard-to-abate sector inside this business, right? And we have the last one is about the packaging business. And we also a joint venture like Kubota that Kun Waraporn said. And right now we have 2 hard-to-abate sector inside this business. So why we need the ESG to build up the new balance for the company? So we start from the policy from our CEO, Kun Narod and CEO Pa, to announce about the net zero by 2050, 5 years ago. But at that time, it's just a target. But we elaborate more and more in the process from that time by making the roadmap in order to how we gonna achieve it with the 5 key levers. Start from the energy efficiency down to produce the low carbon product and come up with the using the low carbon energy like a biomass to replace coal by 2040 that we already announced internally. That is intention. But come up with that, we need the advanced technology like a carbon capture, utilization, and storage to bring the CO2 down to the earth and use it, some part of that. And on top of that, we need to revitalize our Mother of Nature, return the thing back to the nature by using the tool like a natural climate solution to help to sink everything back to the land, right? Like a CO2 that already emerged in the atmosphere. And the second one, we need to transform our portfolio from the high carbon portfolio to the low carbon portfolio by bringing the Go Green initiative to establish this port. Kun Narod already announced about 67% of the revenue come up with the green portfolio by 2030. And the third part is about just transition. We don't want to leave someone behind, but we have to move up together, join together to change the society as well, to reduce the inequality. And the fourth, we can't do everything by ourselves, but we need a collaboration. Based on that, we need good governance to bring trust to transparency in our operation that we have, to lift up not just ourselves, but society allow us as well. That's all the whole that we moved ESG 4+ right now as a strategic core of the SCG.
Thank you. So let me switch gears a little bit, right? We talk a lot about sustainability, ESG. For Kun Waraporn, in your vertical, the agriculture sustainability portion, what challenges do you face in your industry and your business when we talk about sustainability transformation, and how does Siam Kubota basically overcome them? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think Kubota is also just like the other companies that of course we have more challenges when we undergoing for the sustainability transformation. Probably, maybe I will give some example that what we have done in the past and what is our challenging. And I will separate into 2 parts. The first part is for the internal operation. I think the important thing is that we have to have the long-term plan for the sustainability transformation, and also it will be the clear message from the top management to do this. Maybe some example that we have done for this preparation. Before the COVID situation, for Siam Kubota, we have done many digital transformation system. We do several e-system, for example, e-budgeting, e-expense, e-inventory, and all the e-supply also. And I think at that time, what we think is just that we can speed up our process, or we can reduce our cost for the man hour, something like that. But when the COVID came, fortunately that we can have the work from home action within just a couple weeks. So that make us realize that to prepare everything ahead, especially for the digital transformation, is very important for the business. And regarding from the external, meaning that we have some activities and the agriculture solution that we need to encourage the farmers to do and to conduct according to our sharing or our suggestion. But we face up with some difficulty when we try to sharing kind of knowledge to the farmers. For example, they have some resistance to accept because mostly they are traditional farmers. When we would like to tell them in the past that, okay, maybe they need to dig the pond, maybe they need to do the transplanting instead of the rice broadcasting. At that time, we faced up many difficulty. So it caused us to, right now we have established the demonstration farm so that they can see and understand that what they will get if they do as we told. So that's one of the solution that we conduct. And some other part is about the cost concern. Because of the technology adoption and the use of machinery is quite a high cost when they would like to implement. So we suggest them to do the large-scale farm and also to do the kind of community group so that they can utilize the machinery together, and then they can increase the productivity. And for the compliance and the regulation at this part, we try to encourage them that because of the agriculture sector is quite related to the greenhouse gas emission. So right now we are doing some project with SCG in under Saraburi Sandbox that we try to do the alternative wet and dry farming in the rice field so that the customer, they may have the income for the carbon credit. So I think these are just example of the solution that we have done when we are trying to do the sustainability transformation. Yes,
that's very interesting. How about the financial sector space, right? From Dr. Soraphol, I know you mentioned a little on the challenges that the financial sector is slightly different from the supply chain from machinery and construction sector. What kind of challenges do you face from a stock exchange point of view?
From stock exchange point of view, we are the platform of capital market, and our main role is to support both the investors as well as the companies to adapt to the sustainability. From what we have experienced from 800 listed companies that are listed in stock exchange, here are the few challenges I want to share. If you look, Thailand has done quite well in terms of sustainability. We have 26 listed company in Dow Jones Sustainability Index. We have 41 company in FTSE and MSCI, so we are world class. But we have 800 companies in the listed companies, right? And we have tens of thousands of companies that are their supply chain. So one of the biggest challenge that we have is how to onboard all these other companies as well as the supply chain. Because why do we need to onboard? Because it's not enough to have only a handful of companies being world class. This is everyone's issue, and it requires everyone to be on board. The challenge about awareness is less of an issue. As I mentioned, many seminars, so everyone is aware. But the challenge is how to. Many companies want to do it, but they don't know how to start. So we have initiated many workshops to try to match those who have done like these tools to other people who could be inspired to do so. But just doing sustainability project is not enough, because in capital market you also need to report. Why is reporting important? Reporting is important because you need to have complete the feedback loop. You do well, investors know that you do, and they channel their investment to the company to do. So this is how you do sustainability ecosystem in a sustainable way. If the investor do not appreciate what company do, that's not sustainable. So reporting is another challenge, because what we find out is that a lot of companies actually doing sustainability even though they don't know they are doing it. But how to frame it, how to report, how to measure, and make sure it's visible in a way that investors know. That is no need for fancy writing, no need for pictures and everything, but it needs to be in English, in machine readable format, and comparable to other companies so that investors can make decisions. And then there's a question about greenwashing. Like I talked about the stage, like it's nice to do ESG, something that you have to do, something that you must do, something that you want to do. But now people are questioning, are you really doing it, or you just write well? So all this is another challenge, because you have to prove. And I think over time, I think only time can tell, if the company actually doing it, because you can monitor with better data and better investment framework. You can monitor all this greenwashing out. So this is a challenge. I think the challenge in a macro picture, of course, as I told you, people want to do it, they don't know how to start. They do it, they don't know how to report. They report it, you don't know how to invest. And the big picture is that how to get everyone to do it, because it's not enough for only a handful of companies to do, and the rest don't do. Because, for example, the PM 2.5, if everyone don't do it, nobody get it.
That's very true, and it goes back to what Alfie shared earlier around the sustainability maturity chart. Yeah, 5 stages. So on that note, to Alfie now, right? Your favorite topic. What role, if there is any, does the advancement of technology plays in any sustainability transformation initiatives?
So, one of the discussion is how real is the data? When we talk about different company coming together, different standard, different definition, how to make sure the data accuracy, authenticacy is one of the key challenge. And with the development of blockchain, I think one of the case study later you can refer is we call Track and Trust. It's developed based on blockchain, and this is actually quite advanced to track and to make sure the data integrity of when the intercompany exchange of data, you are able to have a data privacy and data authenticacy. So these are one of the parts. The world is talking about quantum. Quantum is supposed to bring us to another dimension, but quantum is still under a lot of development. We were debating whether we can see a full implemented quantum in my lifetime. So that is quantum. If you hear about quantum, people talking about quantum, the technology quantum inspired is what we're talking about. It will help to optimize your process. I think you mentioned about optimizing the process. We also have a technology there to share. Of course, have evolved over AI. And actually, this is the phase that we are in now, using machines to make sure the judgment is neutral, but we should not over-dependent on them. But it's for them to help us to provide some neutrality of assessment as a report. I think these are the three dimensions that, if you ask me, watch out the evolvement of quantum AI, because that's going to shape how you operate your drone, your IoT. In one of the discussion we have in Singapore with the Port Authority, they're using AGV for their port operation. They're talking about hundreds, and they say, but I cannot operate as 1,000. The moment I reach 1,000, the AGV rules is different. So we are trying to use technology to solve all this problem. Just to probably go back to this.
Interesting, yeah. Kun Waraporn shared a few of the technology innovation, right? Anything else from yourself to add to Alfie's point?
Yes, maybe I just a little bit give some example, because the Kubota is also aim for the smart farming and precision farming, and the practice is the integral part for sustainability transformation in agriculture. So for some example, when we are doing for the rice farming, if everyone may know that for the rice farming, it emits the greenhouse gas around the 2 tons per rice, and in total rice farming in Thailand, it emits around 29 million ton carbons per year. So if we can do some technology, for example, before we plant the rice, we do the land laser leveling so that we can control the water in and out. So in this case, we can reduce the time that it will generate the methane in the rice farming. So if we can do this for all over the country for the rice field that have the irrigation system, it will reduce the carbon in total around 11 million ton carbons per year. So that's a lot. So I think this is the one example that, like I said, that if we bring in the technology, we use the data and we use the IoT system so that we can share this knowledge to all the farmers. And there are some other technology, like if we use the rice transplanting instead of the rice broadcasting, this one we can reduce the rice seeds by 70%, and also can reduce the water consumption around 30 to 40%. We also have some technology like we collect the straw by the hay baler. In that case, we can have the straw to feed the animals or to do the biomass, and still can keep the organic matter in the field, which help to reduce the fertilizers. And some other example also include we have the crop calendar, so that the farmers, they can use the crop calendar and the data that they collect to the IoT system, so that they can do the farming with less cost and higher productivity. For what we have researched, it can reduce cost by 20%. And I think this is the highlight technology that we have adopted. And as mentioned, we also study for the technology regarding to the climate change or the carbon neutrality. For example, the closed system of the plantation, including the greenhouse and the plant factory. And in this case, we can control all the variable factor which affect to the plantation inside this closed system. So I think this is the way that we will be more and more of this kind of farming, because we have the limited land, limited resource, while we have increasing population. So the closing system that we can control the environment for crop planting can ensure the food safety and food security.
Yeah. That's cool. Construction industry for you, Kun Nuttavut?
I think when you talk about the challenge, right? As I told you, this is about a long journey that you need the transition to transform your business to achieve the net zero or the lower carbon, right? With the transition itself, it needs not just for the energy transition, it also requires for the product and process transition. And on top of that, you need to support the law and regulation transition from the policy side as well. So with this challenge, just yourself, you cannot do alone, right? You need to take part all stakeholders from the top part, like a government sector, down to the business sector or private sector, and down to the consumer as well. So the consumer awareness, consumer understanding is quite important in order to transform the market to the lower carbon market in the future that await for the new opportunity or await for the business to transform itself, right? And for this one, I think innovation is quite important. So the innovation and the technology will help us to fill the gap. So we need to bring all of that parameters that I mentioned together, not just oneself can solve everything that you confess right now. This is a thing that we have to do together, not just for yourself, but along the value chain and adjacent business that you take part in together.
Yeah. Interesting. Now that brings me to a question that every boardroom will ask when we start new initiatives, regardless whether they're transformational or not, and that's outcome. Right, so what does success looks like, right? When we start to talk about all the transformational, sustainability transformation initiatives. Alfie?
This is a difficult topic every time we come to boardroom. Because they are only talking about money, ROI, investment, returns. But interestingly, I think one of the key topics is about society. ESG, the G and the S part, the S part, the boardroom is asking more. And to me, sustainability include internal and customer. And you look at how the consumer behavior in terms of the survey we had done in Europe, in US, I believe the success will be look like if the consumer moving to buy things, and that will indirectly, the brand name is the #1 index of that areas. And if you look at Europe, there's a carbon tax. And that's really hitting the bottom line of a company. And I start to see more regulation. Instead of encouraging, is penalizing company who's not doing it. So the success to me look like if you are not doing it now, it's a must, or it's a nice to have, must have kind of discussion. To me, carbon is the #1 topic will hit this part of the world in few years' time in terms of the bottom line. The consumer buying behavior is another one.
Do you agree, Dr. Soraphol?
Well, I mean, we are in transitioning, right? But in end goal, right, I think I may be overly optimistic. I think the success is that we do it as business as usual. So if all these topics that we are discussing now, and at the moment we may feel not related to us or very difficult to do, once everyone done it and we have set the whole industry up, and it becomes business as usual. That's a success for me.
Yeah, that's cool. Kun Waraporn, what about you? What do you think? What is success? What does success looks like?
Yes, Yes, actually, I think because the ESG is also one of our key strategy. So actually, we need to try to keep this goal to be engaged from everyone inside and outside the company. So actually, we have some. Actually, KPI or the goal for each of them. For the environment part, we also the target at the 50% of the carbon neutrality reduction within 2030. And we also have many activities to do internal and external, including the energy and water reduction or the waste management, and also some activities that we can help the society to reduce the carbon emission. And for the society, actually, as we have done many projects with our customer or the farmers, so we try to expand our knowledge, expand our agriculture solution so that they can adopt to use in their farm. And our KPI is that we will see whether they have the higher income or not. And also they can join hands together in the community to do more on the high value added product on the crops. And for the G, I think this is the baseline in our organization for many years already. We have some kind of the system or the practice to use. For example, we have the built-in the code of conduct for the company. We have every year we need to do the survey like the ethic, the e-policy, something like that, so that we can ensure that everything is aligned with us. So I think as long as we doing like this continuously as a PDCA, I think this one we can ensure our success. Thank you.
Thank you. Nuttavut, any differences in success?
As I mentioned, this is a goal that not the simple goal, right? It's about the ambition goal. When you're talking about the ambition, you need to have the solid roadmap in order to know about how's about the short term will going to happen, mid-term are going to happen, or the long-term goal, how can you achieve, and how to pay and where to win, and how to win and how to pay, right? And this is the thing that you have to move together, not just by yourself, as I already emphasized. It's about the whole game that you have to move together regarding your roadmap, that you need collective forces, not just from your industry, but adjacent industry as well, to move the society, to move the business, achieve the long-term challenge as the net zero, as I mentioned. This is the thing that we need, not just the ambition, but we need a solid roadmap to achieve for the longer term.
That's good. And that brings us to the very last question, which is the most important thing, I think, right? What advice would you give for businesses who are just embarking on their sustainability transformation? Right. Maybe we start down the line. Alfie, from you.
I do share some maturity path most of the company need to go through. If this is only driven by yourself as a technology, probably is to really start to connect with the department responsible for CSR at the starting point to move a bit there. But I still believe that at the company level, the purpose statement, I will probably drive towards that direction. So a company must have this is a CEO sponsor or board sponsor initiative. This is never a bottom-up initiative. I believe we talk about this top-down approach. It probably is to really go back to start the discussion from that angle. That's what I probably want to advise to the audience.
Kun,
as I mentioned, this is a long journey move, right? So I think we need two key things. The first one that I call 3C. The first one is about the commitment. Second is about the communication. And the last part is about the thing that you have to, cannot compromise the thing that you move toward. And we need also for 3P also. The first one, as you mentioned, is about the people. You need a process to make it happen. And the last is about the performance that you need to track and make it transparent in order to make the trust happen in the value chain that you move.
And Kun Waraporn?
Yes, I think as mentioned that Siam Kubota is actually, we are from the technical side, from the machinery company. But what we have done so far till we can develop ourselves as today, that we have know-how for the agriculture, to improve the yield or to productivities. I think this kind of the knowledge that we've get is from the support and collaborations from every sectors, including the university, the government, the private sector, the farmers, and also many stakeholders. So what we think is the key important point is that the support or the collaboration from each other. So what I want to say here is that if we want to go further, we need to go together.
And Doctor?
So most difficult because everyone already said it. But I think I read some quote that I think is a nice way of thinking. You know, like when you have something very difficult to do, but you must do. I think it says something like this, like the best time to plant the tree is 10 years ago, but the second best time is now. So I mean, you cannot undo what you have not done, but it's always good to start now. Thank you.
So if I sum it up, PX plus DX equals to SX. I like the 3 C's and the 3 P's, right? Commitment, communication, cannot compromise. People, process, performance. Collaboration, I think, is key, right? Among government agencies, education, private companies. And finally, the time is now, right? With this, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. We have given a bit of a theoretical explanation, and later on, some of the practical explanation will be in the 2 tracks behind you. You will be in it for a treat. So please do remember, visit the 2 tracks, one on data AI and the other one on consumer experience. With this, Kapunka, thank you very much for your attention,
much.
and thank you, our dear panelists. Thank you.